It always starts the same way. A quiet night, empty halls, that small hum in the air before everything feels wrong. At 11, the buzzer echoed through the lobby. A man stood outside, mid-40s, thin but tall, eyes hollow behind the brim of a baseball cap. I pressed the button and heard the lock click. He stepped inside like he belonged there. Then he turned and disappeared down the hall. I told myself it was nothing. Night shift paranoia. But an hour later I looked up, and he was back, sitting on the couch across from the blank television. No phone, no book, no movement. Just a figure staring at the screen that wasn't on. Around 1 a.m., I checked the system. Room 214 was listed as vacant. No payment, no name, nothing. I double-checked the key logs. The door hadn't been opened all night. He'd never gone to his room. He'd just stayed. That's when the unease turned into fear. I looked toward the lounge. He was still there. At 2 a.m., he vanished again. My stomach dropped. I found him standing at the end of the hallway, half hidden in the dark, motionless. I called my manager. She told me, half asleep, just keep an eye on him. But how do you watch someone who never stops watching you? He moved constantly, near the vending machines, the stairwell, the lobby corner where the light flickered, always silent. At 3 a.m., I couldn't take it anymore. I called the police. They arrived 20 minutes later. I pointed at him. He didn't run, didn't even blink. Turns out he wasn't a guest. The credit card was stolen. He had no bags. He'd spent hours wandering the building, standing outside occupied rooms, pretending to belong. They took him away, but the lobby still felt wrong, like the air hadn't reset. Every night since, when I check the cameras, part of me expects to see him again, sitting there, watching the dark screen. My name is Meredith. I work nights at a gas station that people only see when they're lost or desperate. The kind of place where silence feels heavier than noise. I liked it that way, until he showed up. It was a Thursday around 1 a.m. The air outside was wet, fog pressing against the glass. The door chime rang, soft, metallic. A man stepped in wearing a green coat and a strange smile. His eyes lingered a bit too long. "You always work this late?" "Yeah, mostly." He nodded slowly. "Thought so, it's always you here." I forced a polite smile, but my chest tightened. Then he said my name. Meredith. I wasn't wearing a name tag. He pointed to the whiteboard where I'd written "Cinnamon coffee is back." "You dot your I's with slashes," he said. "That's thoughtful." His voice wasn't mocking. It was curious, like he'd memorized the handwriting. After that, he kept returning. Not every night, just enough that I noticed patterns. Sometimes he'd buy water. Sometimes he'd just stand by the counter, eyes tracing every move I made. Sometimes he'd sit in his car outside with the headlights off, engine idling. One night he leaned forward and said, "You always check the back door around this time." Smart. I froze. How could he know that? He smiled softly. "You shouldn't look so scared, I'm just paying attention." Then he walked out. After that, I started locking everything twice. I carried a tire iron behind the counter. My reflection in the window looked smaller every shift. Then one night, I found a Polaroid on the counter. It was me, outside, pouring washer fluid. Taken from the shadows, the eye and windshield circled in red ink. When he came back, I snapped. I told him to leave or I'd call the cops. He didn't flinch. "I just noticed things," he said. "You deserve to be noticed." His eyes glimmered like he meant it. That was worse. So, the police came. They found a notebook in his car. It had dates, times, notes about my clothes, my walks, and even my handwriting. One page had my name written over and over until it turned into black scribbles. It was unsettling, to say the least. He told the cops, "I'm just observant." Can you believe that? Anyway, now I work in another town. It's about 2 hours away, at a different station. But, when headlights stay behind me for too long, I grip the steering wheel until my fingers ache. Sometimes I still hear his voice. It's like a whisper, Meredith, spoken like a prayer. I was 22 when it happened, just another overnight shift at the 24-hour gas station. It was always quiet, too quiet sometimes, until my coworker Max and his friend Ben came by around 2:30 in the morning. Those were the moments I looked forward to, even if it was just for a little while. They were laughing, just a little high, joking about everything. But Ben's voice dropped when he looked out the window. "There's a car out there," he said. "Lights off, engine running." The car sat far back in the lot, just beyond the glow of the lights. I couldn't see the driver's face, only the faint shimmer of breath on the glass. Max and Ben went outside to smoke. When they came back in, Max's smile was gone. "The car's brand new," he said quietly. "No plates. And blankets in the back seat. Enough to hide someone." Ben laughed, kind of nervously. When I asked the guy what he was doing, he pretended not to speak English. Then he said he had the wrong address and took off. But that wasn't even the worst part. Max said another car had pulled into the lot. Same model, same missing plates. It followed the first one out just seconds later. We brushed it off. Maybe just a weird coincidence. But, the next night, it happened again. At 3 a.m., 4 customers came in for coffee. One of them asked if I knew about the Subaru parked far back in the lot. He said, "2 guys inside. No plates, engine running." The others nodded, looking pretty uneasy. One said he heard them arguing. One of them kept pointing toward the door of the store. When the group stepped outside, the car suddenly reversed and sped off, tires squealing on the pavement. Same corner, same time, same kind of car. They stayed with me for a while, sipping coffee, talking quietly. I could feel my heart pounding the entire time. When they left, I locked every door twice. Now, every time I work the night shift, I park under the light closest to the camera. I keep my phone ready, the keys between my fingers, and when I see headlights without plates, I don't wait to find out if they're just lost. I've worked the night shift at a small motel for years. 2 floors, 25 rooms, family-owned, old carpets, humming lights. Most nights are dead quiet. That's what makes the small noises stand out. It was cold that Tuesday, the kind of night where sound travels farther. Around 2 a.m. I heard the bell ring. When I walked out to the desk, no one was there. The glass doors were locked. The parking lot was empty. Maybe I imagined it. 10 minutes later, the bell rang again. Still no one. I checked outside. Nothing but fog and silence. The hairs on my arms stood up. I decided to stay at the counter. Maybe some kid was playing a prank. I turned off the lobby lights, sat in the dark, and waited. The clock ticked. The fridge clicked on. The air felt thick. Then, ding. And this time, I saw it. A pale hand rose up from under the counter and pressed the bell. It moved slow, calm, like it knew I was watching. I stumbled backward, ran into the hallway, and locked myself in the office. My breath came out in short gasps. I turned to the monitor. The lobby was empty. My chair was knocked over. Then, movement. A head poked up from behind the desk. Eyes glinted in the camera light. He crawled out, hunched, wearing a hood, and started pacing the room like he owned it. Then he turned toward the hallway, toward me. The doorknob rattled once, then silence, long, endless silence. I whispered to the 911 operator, barely breathing. She told me to stay hidden. Through the monitor, I watched him wander again. He stopped at the glass doors, just staring out at the fog. Then he vanished from the frame. Police lights flashed about 10 minutes later. They found the front door wedged open with a rock. He'd slipped out just seconds before they arrived. They never found him. No prints, no camera footage beyond that frame. Sometimes I think about how long he might have been under that desk, waiting, listening, breathing. Now every time the bell rings, I flinch. I can't help but imagine that pale hand again, rising from the dark, calm as ever, pressing the bell one more time. People think night shifts are boring. They imagine quiet hours, soft lights, nothing to fear but time. But when you're alone long enough, the quiet changes. It bends around you. It hides things. Sometimes, what you can't see is already standing right behind you. The dark doesn't need monsters. It just needs people who know how to move quietly, people who notice your routines, the sound of your footsteps, the time you check the door. I've seen enough to know this much. It's not ghosts that haunt night workers. It's the living. And they don't vanish when the sun comes up. They just wait for the next night.